It helps them get one step closer to getting the evidence or information and making it public that might lead to impeachment. Right now, it's a question of transparency and trying to establish exactly what happened, trying to put flesh on the bones of the Mueller report, trying to make the Mueller report real and bringing it to the attention of the American public in a way that is more effective than simply having the words on paper of a 448-page report that the great majority of Americans, unfortunately, but realistically, simply have not read. So to make that real, they need some of these key characters that are discussed there that already gave information to Special Counsel Mueller to sort of go and speak themselves, to make the pages speak through the mouths of the people that spoke to Mueller. Donald McGahn is one of the key people because he was the White House counsel. He spoke for 30 hours to Mueller. Barr, the Attorney General, his testimony is wanted because he has mischaracterized the report. He delayed releasing the report for a period of weeks and then gave the impression that it exonerated the president when it did not do so. So far, both of these individuals have refused to testify on orders from the president. So this is a very complicated sort of dance or elaborate ritual that seems to be taking place in extra slow motion in terms of getting to the point where they can finally speak. And this process now, holding the vote to hold them in contempt and to enforce the subpoena, rather, is a step to holding them in contempt and to strengthening the case when it finally gets adjudicated in the courts.
So the House wants to make these men comply with the subpoenas. What are the chances of the courts giving them what they want?
The chances seem very high. The only obstacle has been the Democrats moving very slowly. It's as if they all want to hold hands and sing Kumbaya and form a human pyramid and nod and assent multiple times before taking all the formal steps that are necessary to getting the matter into court to begin with. It had been thought that the courts would be slow in ruling on it, but so far the two courts that have been presented with this same issue with respect to other subpoenas relating to Trump and his associates and his financial dealings have moved very quickly in favor of Congress's ability to investigate and enforce these subpoenas. So it's just the Democrats that need to sort of muster up their political will, and maybe they've been getting mixed signals from their leadership, and push this case into the courts. Once they're getting to the courts, so far they have had good results.
Now, that vote in the House was yesterday. Today, Donald Trump Jr. is on Capitol Hill for a second closed-door interview with the Senate Intelligence Committee. Between what we saw yesterday and now today, how worried do you think the Trump administration should be, the Trump entourage?
Well, this is another blow among many that are raining down on the administration. This particular one is interesting because Trump Jr. obviously is the president's son, and he has been central to much of that interface between the business and the political side that has been blurred in both the candidacy and the presidency of Donald Trump. So he's a key linchpin, and obviously being close to the president, this is a point of vulnerability for the president. So they have been trying to protect him. There was some surprise at the release of the Mueller report that, in fact, it did not include formal charges against Donald Trump Jr. But that in itself is misleading as well, because Mueller did not look into whether Donald Trump Jr. had testified truthfully to Congress, which is why the Senate has called him back here to get him to clarify some of his prior statements. Those statements primarily focused, what we know about, focused primarily on two things. One is the extent of his knowledge and the president's knowledge of the Trump Tower building, the huge development in Moscow that was going up as late as the Republican convention in 2016, running up to the campaign, to the official nomination to the campaign, while the president was denying any dealings or any negotiations of any sort with the president. This was a huge multi-billion-dollar project that would have required the approval of the Russian President Vladimir Putin and would have cemented suggested very strong and potentially incriminating ties between Russia and the candidate at that time. So it was very relevant. Michael Cohen, the president's lawyer, said that he was instructed not to testify truthfully about it. So this is one of the things that Donald Trump Jr. will be asked about.